Your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Hi, Flo here to say that Progressive knows that life can change quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, like when I have to take my ex off my policy.
Oh, sorry. But yes, we can do that.
And can you send them a message and tell them that they have trust issues that they need to work on?
We don't really get in the middle of these conflicts.
Also, can you let them know that I was faking interest in his band and it's probably time to grow up?
I'm not going to do it. Just know that with Progressive, you can easily make changes to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus an extra $100 off all mattresses. And Saturday, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
So many unanswered questions today in the strike from Cuba against a speedboat registered in Florida. You first heard about the incident yesterday on Midday, the strike resulting in the deaths of 4 people, leaving 6 others injured. The State Department says diplomats at the U.S. Embassy in Havana are still working to get access to those people, some or all of whom could be U.S. citizens, but we just don't know. Cuban government claims the people on board were Cuban residents of the United States. Retired Colonel Stephen Ganyard, who is also an ABC News contributor, says we really can't take Cuba's word for anything.
So what we know is just what the Cubans have told us, which means that we probably need to disregard about 99% of that because this all happened supposedly within Cuban territorial waters, 1 mile offshore of Cuba. They say that 6 people were injured and 4 people were killed. They said that the boat that they approached fired on them first. We don't know that. And the real question here is, were they inside of Cuban territorial waters, inside of that 12 nautical mile limit? Because if they were, then they're subject to Cuban law, such as it is. If they were outside that 12 nautical miles, then that becomes international waters, and this becomes a big deal for the U.S. government.
So far, the Cuban government hasn't really given the United States government a lot to work with, only a registration number for the boat, which appears to be from Florida.
The Cuban government gave us a registration number, a boat registration number in Florida. And so it appears that the boat is registered in Florida, but we do know that there's been decades-long fast boat trade where people have paid a lot of money to have these fast boats, these cigarette boats and high-speed boats, go down to Cuba and pull their loved ones offshore and to take them to the United States. Now, apparently, in the past couple of years, this used to be mostly between Cuba and Key West, but because the U.S. has been patrolling those waters more often, this fast boat trade has been between the Cuban shore and Bimini or Grand Bahama Island, and then they take them from there back into the U.S.
Colonel Ganyard says the incident is just another strain on the relationship between the U.S. and Cuba. He says Cuba was already on high alert after the U.S. captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, so he wouldn't be surprised if similar kinds of attacks on other boats continue.
No doubt the Cuban government and the Cuban military is on edge, on high alert, because once Maduro was yanked out of Venezuela, the U.S. assumed the revenues and who gets what in terms of Venezuelan oil, which means that Cuba, which got 60% of its daily required oil from Venezuela, no longer gets that 60% oil. And so it's just a matter of time before this economy collapses. It could be weeks, it could be months. Everybody said for years that the Cuban economy is about to collapse, but when you take that much oil away that runs the generators, that runs basic power on the island, at some point the economy and maybe the society collapses.
ABC News contributor and retired Marine Colonel Stephen Ganyard there. We'll continue to watch this story, bring you updates and answers to the many outstanding questions as we get them. A bit of drama happening as Utah Valley University prepares to leave the Western Athletic Conference. A judge just ruling that UVU can participate in tournaments as a disagreement over the exit fees plays out. After the break, we'll find out what this all means for the future of the Wolverines. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU, up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. Michelle?
Really looking good out there, Maria. It's starting to see just now as I'm looking a little bit of slowing, though. First of our delays, southbound I-15 leaving downtown. This is right about 90th South. Everything else is running at posted speeds. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program and the Shingo Institute at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. This generation will experience more job turbulence than any generation previously. A recent study suggested that this generation may change jobs 10 to 15 times. Education can be a buffer to job turbulence, but it must be continuous. Just having a college degree helps, but formal and informal continuous learning will help you survive. Learn a new software, get a new certificate or master's degree. Be flexible, work at home, be willing to travel. Keeping your job involves looking over the horizon and seeing the needs of your company before they do. It does not require a crystal ball, just some analytic tools. An MBA can give you some of those tools and can help you see how to adapt to your company's needs and how to move on to the next opportunity when the time comes. Learn more about strategic career management with an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Ready for your next vehicle? At Performance Automotive in Bountiful, your new Ford, Toyota, or Honda is here. Built for Utah communities, canyon weekends, and everything in between. Choose capability with Ford, long-lasting reliability with Toyota, or smooth efficiency with Honda. Backed by friendly experts and financing options that fit your budget. Visit Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda for your test drive. Browse inventory, check pricing, and schedule your visit at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The trauma continues to unfold between Utah Valley University and the Western Athletic Conference. This morning, we brought you the news that a judge ruled the WAC cannot bar UVU from participating in WAC and NCAA postseason tournaments and championships. The judge also ruling that the school should be included in WAC media broadcasts and coaches and athletes should be eligible for postseason awards. Now, this whole situation has been complex and confusing, so let's go in depth, break down what's being argued and what it could mean for the future of Wolverine athletics. So joining me in studio, Jeremiah Jensen, he's a KSL sports anchor. So first of all, Jeremiah, this is good news
Great
for the
news.
students, right?
Which is the most important thing, right? You talk about these schools and, you get into money issues and legal issues, and I'm not going to go into all that. Greg Skordas is going to listen to me try to talk about legal issues, and he's going to laugh while he's in his car. But what I can speak to is the competition part of this and the sports part of this. And you've got some athletes at that school that have worked really hard, and this is their dream, especially the basketball team, which if they win their conference tournament has a chance to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. You're going to prevent those young men from having a chance to compete in that tournament and earn that great honor over a legal issue? It doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to argue this in the courts, go ahead and do it. Let these players go play on the court. These student athletes who, and this is not a place where there's tons of NIL, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are student athletes that work really hard. Let them play and let their parents watch them play. They're trying to block the broadcast of the games. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So let's just look at kind of our level.
Yes.
Not the legal level.
Yes.
But explain why this is over exit fees.
Well, so the conference is going through a transition, and the WAC is breaking apart, and some of the teams are joining another conference. I think it's like the ASUN conference, and the schools in Utah are kind of left on their own. So Utah Tech and Southern Utah are also members of the WAC. They are departing now for the Big Sky, that's a great fit here with Weber State. Football schools makes a lot of sense. They weren't charged an exit fee. Utah Valley was. Why? Because they left before the breakup, and the conference wanted to take advantage of that financially. They're going to the Big West Conference, a basketball-only league. It's a great fit, a bunch of teams in California. It's going to be a great place for Utah Valley. That's where this all comes from. It's about conference realignment and an exit fee that is wanted for the exit. And $1 million is a lot of money, especially for a conference that's breaking apart. I can see why they want their money, but you don't have a lot of legal standing when the other two Utah schools were allowed to go without one. And I think that's the crux of it.
So what does this all mean for the future of athletics and for these schools?
Well, it's important for Utah Valley because $1 million is a lot of money to them. This isn't some of these schools, these big Power 4 programs we talk about all the time on Sports Talk Radio that, they can pay these coaches $50 million, contract breaking, buyouts.
Mm-hmm.
This is different. $1 million is a lot to a program like UVU, especially a program that does not have football, which is a major revenue creator. So it's important that they keep that money and they make this move. It's going to be great for their athletic programs. It's not good for their student athletes to be punished for something that has nothing to do with them. So that's what's most important in this story is that's being restored. These student athletes are going to get the opportunity to compete in the tournaments, and that is the most important part of it.
Yeah, the coaches were also mentioned in this. So how does this impact the coaches?
Well, I mean, obviously the coaches, they're frustrated, obviously, and it hurts them in their careers because going and having an opportunity to compete in these tournaments is how they, are weighed and measured, right? If you're trying to get a raise or you're trying to better your career, you got to go play in these tournaments. You got to go compete in these tournaments to show the growth that you've had as a coach and in your program. So it would hurt them as well to not be able to play, to be able to coach in these tournaments. So everybody involved would be negatively impacted, and there's no need for that. Let all that legal stuff be settled in the courts. Don't punish the coaches and players who have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, so what's the next step? I mean, how soon does this whole court case seem?
Well, the good news is they got this injunction today, and the judge ruled in favor of UVU. So, I mean, March is right around the corner, so better hurry and get this tournament done in Vegas, folks. You got about 3 weeks. It's actually almost, about 2 weeks from today, we're going to be in this tournament down in Vegas for the WAC tournament, and they're going to get a play, and that's the good news. And Utah Valley men and women are going to have a chance to compete in that tournament. And obviously this affects spring sports as well, but that's the good news today is there's an injunction and they can play.
And we know how mental sports are. So, it's a mental game.
I'm sure this has impacted them over the month.
This has got to be,
Maria,
a great relief.
You hear this in January and you're having a great season and you're told, well, you probably aren't going to be able to compete. Well, now that cloud is lifted.
Jeremiah, thank you.
You got it.
I appreciate you being with me today. And Jeremiah Jensen, KSL sports anchor, joining me for this. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. The Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office voicing concern over unidentified ICE agents in local courthouses. A proposal at the state legislature that would make sure those who deface natural and archaeological sites have to pay hefty fines that help restore those sites. And KSL traffic, Michelle.
Traffic starting to slow down a little southbound I-15, Murray headed towards Sandy. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
And this nice spring-like weather, that's what I'm going to call it, spring-like weather is set to continue for the weekend. Looks like things changing a little bit on Sunday, but our best chance of rain coming on Monday. About a 50% chance of showers on Monday. And then the temperatures back into the 50s on Monday, 60s for the weekend.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. After a brief pause today due to a photo leak in the closed-door deposition of Hillary Clinton, House Oversight Committee members continue to ask Clinton questions in their Jeffrey Epstein probe. Former President Bill Clinton will be deposed tomorrow. ABC's Rachel Scott is in Chappaqua, New York.
Now, Hillary Clinton has long denied ever having any sort of relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, but Bill Clinton was friendly with him for years. Just days ago, we heard from Hillary Clinton. She said all of this is to distract from President Trump. Neither Bill Clinton nor President Trump have been accused of any wrongdoing.
A Columbia University student from Azerbaijan has been released from ICE custody, that after being detained earlier today by DHS and taken from her dorm room. New York City's Mayor Zoran Mamdani, who met with President Trump at the White House earlier today to discuss other issues, says after that meeting he called about the student and says the president agreed to order the student's release. On Wall Street today, stocks rallied at the close. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Lawmakers are recommending a bill that would hold platforms responsible for deep fake intimate images posted to their sites.
The bill is being sponsored by Representative Ariel DeFay.
The first thing the bill does is that it requires platforms to obtain consent if you're going to deep fake an intimate image of somebody else and publish a deep faked intimate image on a platform.
She says the second thing the bill requires is for platforms to post the information about what was changed in the image. That way people can know for sure that it is an AI altered photo. May Kennedy with the Abundance Institute says they support what the bill is trying to do, but not how it's trying to do it.
It creates a state-level technical mandate for AI provenances. The internet doesn't stop with Utah borders. 50 different state standards will fragment compliance and discourage startups from operating here.
The bill passed a committee this morning, but some members asked that it be refined before final passage. Don Brinker-Huff, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. A man was arrested yesterday in Carbon County after an hours-long SWAT standoff. Police say they were called to the home in Wellington for a possible domestic violence situation. According to official documents, officers arrived to find a woman with fresh injuries outside and say Scott Ammett refused to open the door. After receiving a warrant to enter the home, police arrested Ammett on suspicion of aggravated assault. A bill that would ensure fines paid for defacing natural and archaeological sites is going forward in the legislature. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
Public defacing and destruction of natural and historic features like hoodoos or petroglyphs only seem to be increasing every year, says bill sponsor Representative Stuart Barlow. He says there needs to be a culture of integrity. Representative John Arthur says as someone who grew up looking for these historic sites, he appreciates the bill.
With this fund, the fines incurred will be used specifically within those localities to repair the harm done, and then also ultimately to build in that educational piece that will hopefully prevent more of these from taking place.
The bill will also encourage public reporting by creating a reward system similar to the state's Help Stop Poaching program. Currently, fines paid from the destruction of these sites are not required to be used specifically for the restoration of the site. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day up by about 17 points to end at 49,499. S&P down by 37 points, and the NASDAQ down by 273 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Overall, it's been a pretty quiet commute this afternoon, but we are starting to see a little bit of slowing southbound I-15 right around 90th South. Also building traffic on Bangerter Highway. This is in the West Valley 201 area. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
And the forecast pretty much staying the same as you see it right now. Temperatures getting a little bit warmer for the weekend, up into the 60s, and that chance of rain returns on Monday. Right now, 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Sully County Sheriff says a recent spike in complaints her office has received centers on ICE agents showing up inside courthouses without identifying themselves. Local officials saying their hands are tied. There's not much they can do. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera explains.
Maria, so, first and foremost, I just want to say, right, stories I've covered over the past year, right? I've heard from immigration attorneys, advocacy groups, describing these very run-ins at courthouses here in Utah, okay? So I think this is interesting because now we're hearing from the Salt Lake County Sheriff, Rosie Rivera, sharing complaints, like you said, are flooding into her office as of late, this more recently, and she shared those examples at the last county meeting. And she's actually asking for protocols to be revisited because, for example, for her department, it's causing a lot of confusion and a lot of problems. I think that's why I brought this clip, right? I want everyone to hear this because she describes basically like two different complaints that her office has received, that they are investigating, and kind of describes that confusion that can happen.
Part of the problem is ICE is showing up in court. They have no identifiers. They're in plain clothes. They're wearing masks. We don't know who these people are either. So it has become a problem. We had one complaint about a deputy who handcuffed an individual. That did occur. Every complaint we investigate with that situation between the judge and the deputy, they felt it was the most safest way because the ICE agent had no identifiers or anything. They were in plain clothes in the courtroom. The deputy followed what the judge said and did place handcuffs on that individual and took him to the secure area. We have put a stop to that and explained to the courts that puts us in a bad situation, so that should not be occurring. We're not there to do ICE's job. However, we are asking that ICE work with us in a sense that at least let us know when you're there. The second complaint that I am aware of and we're investigating is one of our deputies was in the court He heard a scuffle outside the courtroom. He went out. He thought somebody was getting beat up. He later found that it was ICE trying to arrest an individual. One of the ICE agents got into a verbal altercation with our deputy, and the deputy did use some foul language towards her. We are addressing that issue.
So you can see how confusing, though, that could be for local law enforcement, Eric. So
exactly.
what exactly does the sheriff want to happen?
So I think it's important to hear, that one part where she says, they're not there to do ICE's job first and foremost, but it is their job to make sure that basically the environment is a safe one, right, for everybody. I also did some digging, right? So some important kind of legal realities that I found hitting up some of our sources like a previous judge. There is no Utah law, first and foremost, banning courthouse arrests. That is true. And local agencies, kind of like she alluded to, can't interfere with federal enforcement. So that's a true statement. So once again, that's where the deputy's role becomes safety, right, not enforcement. And, what they're trying to do is basically manage the situation, not participate in it.
Okay, so this has to be also concerning in that doesn't it keep people from actually showing up at court?
Yeah, so that's kind of the biggest thing I'm hearing, from immigration attorneys on past stories, which is it's creating fear among the community to actually show up and do the things that they're supposed to do because they're fearful of this happening to them when they show up.
KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joining me to talk about concerns from Salt Lake County Sheriff Rosie Rivera about unidentified ICE agents in courthouses. We do have some breaking news on Midday. Executive producer Andy Cupp joins me in studio now. Andy, what's happening?
So, Maria, we are learning now that the Justice Department, the United States Justice Department, is suing Utah's Lieutenant Governor over voter rolls and voter information. We're just learning here that the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division has filed federal lawsuits against Utah, Oklahoma, Kentucky, West Virginia, and New Jersey for failure to produce their full voter registration lists upon requests. So this brings the total number that the Justice Department is suing to 29 states and the District of Columbia. This press release that we just got into the newsroom, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, she says accurate, well-maintained voter rolls are a requisite for the election integrity that the American people deserve. Now, right as we're learning about this lawsuit, we're also getting reaction from Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, and she says that the DOJ has declined the previous offer from the Lieutenant Governor's office to share publicly available voter lists with them. She says that this was not an unexpected lawsuit. Several other Republican states are included in this lawsuit, but she did say in a statement here that neither state nor federal law entitles the Department of Justice to collect private information on law-abiding American citizens. Utahns can be assured that my office will always follow the Constitution and the law, protect voter rights, and administer free and fair elections. And that's from Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson.
All right, Andy, thank you. And that just breaking. We'll continue to follow that story, bring you the very latest. Turning to national news now, an update to a story in Mexico that caused a slew of violence over the weekend. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel has played a significant role in trafficking fentanyl and other drugs into the U.S., according to the State Department. And as News Nation's Allie Bradley reports, the death of its leader likely won't slow that flow.
Despite the death of CJNG leader El Mencho, authorities say that fentanyl trafficking is expected to continue because the reality here is that when you take out one of these cartel leaders, it rarely dismantles the criminal infrastructure. What I mean by that is that production networks, smuggling routes, and distribution systems typically remain intact, allowing narcotics, including fentanyl, to continue flowing into the U.S. Fentanyl operations are generally driven by large-scale synthetic drug infrastructure, not a single individual. CJNG is believed to be deeply networked and decentralized, meaning other commanders could step up to lead production and distribution, even as authorities monitor the power vacuum. Now, when it comes to how much fentanyl is being seized, fentanyl seizures by federal forces have dropped sharply under the Trump administration, even as officials acknowledge Mexican-made fentanyl continues to reach the U.S., often as counterfeit pills. In 2023, about 27,000 pounds of fentanyl were seized. Then it dropped to 19,600 pounds in 2024, then down to under 12,000 pounds this last fiscal year. That's the lowest since 2021. The Trump administration says the decrease is due to the secure border. But a former DEA administrator says the drug is already here.
So right now in America, we have mass amounts of cartel operatives, more than we've ever had. There's no doubt that they're making them in America. We've seen very sophisticated pill mills all over the country. One pill press that this guy had, and he wasn't even a cartel member, was producing 100,000 pills an hour.
So we're talking about 100,000 pills in a single hour with just one guy. That's what we're looking at in the interior of the United States. Now, what is the U.S. doing to push back? Well, CJNG was designated as a terrorist organization, so the United States is able to go after their financials through sanctions and different avenues like that. When it comes to lawmakers, they're pushing for stricter penalties for drug traffickers and also enhanced screening at the ports of entry.
That is News Nation's Allie Bradley reporting. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination, where Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge. And Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Jackson Hewitt knows taxes are complicated, and with multiple jobs and tax forms, they're like Sonata complicated. Our no surprise pricing keeps things simple. Jackson Hewitt does your taxes for only $149 or less. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back. So what are you waiting for? Hurry. File with Jackson Hewitt today for only $149 or less, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Eye on the Hill 2026. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
With public defacing and destruction of natural and historic features around the state on the rise, the state legislature is looking for ways to not only discourage vandalism, but also repair and restore damaged sites. Bill sponsor Representative Stuart Barlow says we need to establish a new culture when it comes to these special places.
And we almost need a culture of integrity that's instilled within our citizens. And nowhere stronger is that important for our southern Utah Red Canyons areas. But you know that problem. And this is a complex issue, and this is just one point on that.
Representative John Arthur says that as someone who grew up looking for these historic sites, he appreciates what this bill is trying to do.
I think that every time I see one of these stories on the news, it always breaks my heart as somebody who grew up going out into working really hard to find these locations, to enjoy them. And I really appreciate the fact that with this fund, the fines incurred will be used specifically within those localities to repair the harm done, and then also ultimately to build in that educational piece that will hopefully prevent more of these from taking place in the future.
So what would the bill actually do? Representative Arthur alluded to it just a bit there. It would create a fund to repair vandalized or destroyed sites and educate the public on other local historic places. The fund would be created using fines paid by those who have been caught defacing these sites. And the bill would also encourage public reporting by creating a reward system similar to the state's Help Stop Poaching program. Currently, fines paid from the destruction of these sites are not required to be used specifically for the restoration of that site. The American Sign Language program at Salt Lake City's West High School will continue for another year thanks to the outspoken efforts of students, parents, and alumni. Salt Lake City School District said that they were considering dropping the class due to funding, but the community came together after the initial announcement and created an online petition which received roughly 1,000 signatures. Alum Ben Tribe tells KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez that he was disheartened with the initial news that the program would be cut.
I mean, I was heartbroken. Miss Paul has done so much for the deaf community in the area and the students who take her class there. And it ripped my heart out to see that the administration was going to take all of that away from her for nothing. Immediately I saw the petition, texted all of my friends about it, everyone who was in the class. We were all a mix of heartbroken and really mad that they would do something like this. And it kind of just it kind of ruined my night. Like, I got home, was doing school, was cooking dinner, but I was just sad all night. And then this morning when I got on and saw that they canceled or walked back their decision, it just was relieving, and I just felt for Miss Paul and how relieved she especially must feel after such a whirlwind of a week.
After the district decided to keep the program, ASL teacher Miss Paul took to Facebook and thanked the West High community for their support. Did you know that until recently, scientists didn't know how a horse whinnies? They knew why, but not how. After the break, a bit of a breakthrough moment in the science world, giving us a better clue at that distinctive horse sound. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Delays starting to set in southbound I-15 at the South Interchange. Also, police activity in Taylorsville, 4700 South, 2700 West, and a crash with injuries, State Street and 21st South. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Want to win big this week? Head to ksl.com/win and enter to win tickets to Titanic the Exhibition. Step aboard history and experience the story of the legendary ship like never before, with real artifacts, immersive galleries, and powerful stories from the passengers and crew of the Titanic. It's easy to enter, and you could be our next winner. Don't miss your chance. Visit ksl.com/win right now and check out all our weekly contests. That's ksl.com/win.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Imagine all that could happen in 5 years. Jobs change, kids grow, but what if you had reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Well, thanks to the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to your devices that need the most, that finds and fixes any issues before you notice. It's like super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected. You get incredible gaming speeds on multiple devices and no one battling for bandwidth. For the next 5 years, all your devices in perfect harmony, and you get the best equipment, no annual contract, no fees, no strings. So even though the kids will grow up and you still won't understand 6-7, your internet will stay sharp, reliable, and the price stays put. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. All with the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you, like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store.
put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. An ultra-private new smartphone just barely unveiled. ABC tech reporter Mike Dubusky tells us more.
Samsung has pulled the wraps off its new Galaxy S26 Ultra.
I mean, the most exciting thing about it is the privacy display.
And Gadget deputy editor Chairlyn Lowe says the phone's privacy display is a feature that's designed to make the screen only visible if you're looking at it head on.
The person sat sort of to your right can't just kind of look over out of the corner of their eye and see just how much your bank balance is.
It can be set to only cover certain parts of the screen or automatically activate when you open certain apps.
So in this case, every time you open your banking app, it will have this privacy display set up.
The S26 Ultra sits at the top of the standard Samsung Galaxy range and is priced at $1,300, whereas the standard S26 starts at $900.
It's keeping the same price as its predecessor, whereas the S26 and the S26 Plus cost $100 more than last year's model.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Horses whinny to find new friends, greet old ones, and celebrate happy moments like feeding time. But how exactly horses produce that distinctive sound, also called a neigh, has long eluded scientists until now. Start Here host Brad Milkey has more.
What would you call this noise? I would personally call it a neigh. Horse experts, though, call it a whinny.
We're talking about a whinny.
This is Elodie Briefer from the University of Copenhagen, where she researches bioacoustics, the sounds animals make. Do you have an impression of a horse whinny at this point?
Yeah, that would be it.
Wait, well, the Zoom actually thought you were an animal and tried to filter you out right there. Could you try that one more time? She says horses create a lot of noises. There's the brusque snort, the gentle nicker, even sighs and groans and screams. But the whinny, she says, is special because the horse is making multiple sounds at once.
So horses, when they whinny, they do two sounds at the same time. So we knew that, so I at least suspected that strongly, but we didn't know how they were produced.
That's right. For all the neighs you've ever heard, scientists didn't actually know how horses did them. At least they didn't get half of it. So let's listen. Here's the usual horse neigh. Now I'm going to ask our producer Kelly to isolate just the low frequency sound. So these are the lower tones in that sound you just heard. That sound, Briefer said, is made by air passing over the horse's vocal cords. Same way we talk. But at the exact same moment, the horse is making another sound. This sound. You hear that? Most big land animals cannot make a noise that high. So, how does a horse do it?
The low tone didn't shift up, but the high tone did shift up. So that was the kind of very strong suggestion that the high tone is a whistle.
For years, Briefer's team studied horses' voices. They put cameras down near their vocal cords. They studied horse cadavers.
Having veterinarians putting an endoscope inside the nose of a horse that goes to the throat, so you can see what's going on. That's something that is commonly done to check if they have breathing issues.
Well, yesterday, her team put out a paper in the journal Current Biology. The horse whinny, she says, is part shout, part whistle.
We didn't know that it was a whistle before this study. So actually the high pitch was labeled as, extremely high compared to what vocal folds of the size of a horse could produce. And it's indeed what we show here, that it's not by vocal fold, but by whistle, which is produced in the throat, which has for now been shown only in rodents.
Horses are incredible for lots of reasons. They're pack animals who are also individually unique. They're known for emotional intelligence and long-term memory. They've pulled our plows. They've led us into war. They've served as our travel companions and our therapists. But anyone who's worked with horses will also tell you they're exceptionally communicative. And now, for the first time in thousands of years of coexistence, humans have only just begun to learn how they talk.
And that is Start Here's Brad Milkey. So my brain is stuck on what would it sound like if we tried to shout and whistle at the same time?
I'm just glad this research is taking place in Copenhagen, so it's not our tax dollars that are going for all of this work.
Tim Hughes in for Jeff Kaplan today for a couple of days. You didn't like the story on the horse, Winnie?
This is what I have to say about that research. Something like that. Don't ask me to Winnie. It would be really bad.
Horses are very communicative, though. Like when you go up to a horse and you give it an apple and its lips kind of move funny to take that. You're looking at me like, why? Why are you going there? All right. I'm out. We'll let Tim take over. Have a great afternoon.
What a spot to leave me on this afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It is 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. In for Jeff Kaplan today, I'm Tim Hughes. Really a pretty day out there. Lots of blue sky, sunshine, and 54 degrees. Our top story. Salt Lake County Sheriff says they're hearing more complaints